Yeah, Geordie will be right to go. We actually, funnily enough, thought he did more than we were asking, so he's confident that his shoulder's going to be fine.
Is there any discomfort at all, or what's sort of his feeling at the moment?
He may have discomfort for the rest of the year, I think, maybe. Yeah, but according to what he needed to do today and he run around well, yeah, we're confident he'll play.
Darcy Moore also had a little knock. So things came off, spoke to Fizz, come back on, but do you shed any more light?
Yeah, he just, one of the contact drills, he's got knee on the knee, so no issues at all.
In terms of Taylor Adams, what do you do to replace him?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. You know what I do? I actually take the magnets home and I sleep on them. And if I get a restless sleep, I take a couple out. And then if I get a good night's sleep, those ones generally get to the top of the queue. So I've got to take a couple home tonight and have a sleep on it.
How much time have you spent thinking about that, mate? Because he's the clearly one that needs to be replaced this week.
It's difficult. Like we don't have a plethora of Taylor Adams on our list. We don't. He's a unique player. He's a contested player. We just don't have a replacement. That's reality. So then you go, well, what moving parts do we add? Can we get somebody to play a different role? And then there's a whole array of things that we need to discuss at match committee this afternoon.
So Maynard did a little bit of stuff around stoppage. I know Johnny Elliott's had those CBAs in the past, but you're taking two great players from either end and putting in the middle. How do you balance up sort of robbing Peter to take all of that?
Yeah, and that's why we talk in circles at match committee around, if we put this player in, there's a cost somewhere else. So yeah, it's a delicate one. We may play a role player, we may play a specific player for that role. So we'll wait and see. Time will tell.
You were without Taylor for the last bit of the run home. How well did that prepare your system for now to be able to cover his loss again?
Yeah, we just saw in 3/4 of a game how important he is for our clearances. Yeah, we broke even against a really good clearance team, and our pressure was really high, and he drove a lot of that. So, again, we don't have a ready-made replacement, but we're going to have to be a little bit creative.
Kruger in?
Potentially, he's somebody, and I've openly said this before. I think Kruger gives us something different. What cost is that to the team then? Do we play 3 tools? We haven't done it for the whole year. It's hard to sort of know what that looks like for us. So we tried a little bit of training today, and we'll again, that's another discussion we'll have.
Could you play all three? I mean, you only played Mason Cox for 46% on Saturday. Would you do something similar on the weekend? Yeah,
the Mason one was interesting. It wasn't a directive. That was, after the game is one thing I reflect on a lot of things. That one thing I reflect on, why didn't we play more? Like I wasn't privy to that at the time. I thought he could have given us a real contest for the ball. So in regards to Mason, that's his story. But the 3 tools, it depends. It's what sort of game we're going to get. Is it a high stoppage game, a turnover game? That's something that we're exploring.
How does that happen in terms of Mason? That he only plays that when it's not what you want?
Yeah, I asked questions, and the reality was that for about 10 minutes, the game was stuck on the other side of the ground, and Darcy couldn't get off. And then little things like starting on the boundary after a quarter time or half time. They're things we can control. So again, it wasn't directive. We like to keep his minutes not overwhelming, but he's been playing 60% roughly, and that's been working well for us.
Darcy Moore going forward late in that game. Can you explain to us the thinking behind that, and is it something we're likely to see again?
Yeah, we've well, I can't tell you everything because reality is the opposition. No, but when we want to win the game, we try a few things, and that's one thing we try.
You're happy with how it came off on Saturday?
No, we reflected on that as well. There's a few little things, little layers to that. We can do a little bit better.
Bit of wet weather forecast. Do you think that'll help?
Yeah, we love the rain. We love the rain. Well, I wouldn't say they don't, but we've got a good record in the wet, and adds to a pressure game which we like.
Just in terms of your comments post game, have you seen the response that you were hoping for this week from the players in terms of acting like winners?
Oh, it's funny because we've been acting like winners for a long time. This is not something that's new to us, and maybe for the broader footy environment, I've shared something that has been ours for a long time. From day one, there's a sign. You walk in there, it says winners only. And that's just about being winners every moment that you have a chance to be that. And I shared something intimate that I shared with the players. It wasn't blasted to the players. It was headlined that it was blasted. It wasn't at all. It was a conversation around, hey boys, you should be really proud of what we just did. But we've got more work to do. So no time to lay on the ground and rest and think about it. We've got to get up and get busy. And on Monday, you walk into here, you wouldn't know if we've won or lost. And that's been our theme for the whole year. Our players are hungry and they're getting back to work, and we've got more work to do.
Something you said last week was you like to be generous and kind to people and see what the results are. Is that particularly important in a week after a loss?
I like to see the positivity in things, no doubt in that. I think this time of year you need energy. You've got to fill your cup back up. There's the games itself and the longevity of the season take a lot out. So we're looking at ways we can energise our playing group. Positivity and feel good about things is maybe one way of doing that.
Patrick Dangerfield voiced some frustration yesterday about a tackle on the weekend, Jack Univan. He didn't get any punishment from the AFL at all, but have you spoken to Jack about that action, hearing a sort of pin and moving on around?
No, and I haven't. I heard that Dangerfield said something, but I hadn't heard what he said, so I'm not going to make a comment on something I don't know. The AFL never contacted us about this at all, so in regards to that matter, I just assume it was done.
Just on the Dockers, you guys have got grand final experience playing in front of 90,000 fans the last couple of weeks. Most of their team is never going to see a crowd when they run out on Saturday night. What sort of edge do you think that can give you?
Oh, well, I was part of a game at Richmond where it was a prelim final, GWS versus Richmond, and there was overwhelming support for one team. You've got to make your team. You've got to make the crowd come to life. That's reality, and I think this game's going to be a lot different to the one we just played. We're preparing ourselves for a real struggle, and they're a very good defensive team, and you don't get to this time of the year by chance. We're going to have to bring our best version of ourselves.
Just on some of those tackles and umpiring decisions on Saturday, I know it's something you flagged in the post-game media conference. Have you spoken with the AFL since? Have you seeked clarity?
Well, I actually had Dan Richardson call me and just give some clarity around what the weekend was like in terms of decision making. I'm comfortable with what we talked about. It was just a matter of like a couple missed here and a couple of others that maybe, but as always, I keep saying it, but they're allowed to make mistakes as we are. The game itself, I think, is better if it's live and open and playing. I get that. I think we all like to watch the game. The game itself was a good spectacle, so I'm not sure we're judging that. It's just I'm comfortable with the conversation we had.
So the umpires should be putting the whistle away late in finals or any game for that matter?
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. They've got rules to adjudicate, but there's a level of I think we just love the contest, and again, I'll repeat myself. I thought everybody that would have watched our game would have enjoyed the spectacle of what it was.
Just in terms of Taylor Adams, with that particular injury, I know it's not a short-term concern, but is he likely to have to start a pre-season? It's an unusual injury. What are his prospects?
Yeah, it's a 3-month injury recovery span. I think, so he's going to need every bit of the off-season to get himself right. But I think that the full tear is a positive, funnily enough. So, he might have had to have an operation to get something similar as an outcome. So, he'll rest up and get himself ready for the pre-season.
How is he for? Because he's a very emotional person. He's going to miss out on the final series now. How's he been in the last few days?
Yeah, he's brilliant at helping us be better, and then he'll struggle on match day. He's already texted me saying, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch. He's such a competitor. But we're using his wisdom and experience and his leadership. He's in the leadership group to make us better day to day, and he's been doing that.
Would he have a match day role at all?
Yeah, we're considering him being in the box for our stoppages and supporting that around that. Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to help him with his emotions though.
What's your message to the players, Craig, as you get closer to the game? He's still in it. This is the hard road, going a long way. I know you've talked about positivity. What else do you preach?
Embrace the struggle. The struggle is the way. And this is going to be a struggle, this game, and then you're lucky enough to get through, there'll be another struggle. That'll be a message that I'll bring tomorrow.
Ollie Henry, he was the sub last time he played the Dockers and came on, kicked 4 goals. He's the sub the last couple of games of the home and away season, so hasn't played a lot of footy the last few weeks. Is there a chance at a recall this week? Where's he at?
Yeah, he's exactly that. I can't help but think that he's that impact sub guy that we may consider. There's about 3 or 4 of them that can really do that. Carmichael's one of those guys too. He's shown what he can do if he comes on in that position. So I might take one of his magnets home too.
Craig, just on Fremantle, their run, their carry is usually really good. They're good users of the ball. Are you guys going to be able to shut them down enough and frustrate them with the bigger ground, or are you going to have to sort of go back and forth?
Yeah, that's the challenge. I think they're a high uncontested marking team. I think if they've had over 100 marks, they haven't lost a game this year. So that's a part of the game we're going to be really wary of. If we can keep the game contested and a lot of pressure around it, that plays